Hey collectors, welcome to Star Wars Collected. I'm Jonathan. If you're new here, I hope you consider sticking around and subscribing. If you've been here before, I hope you leave me a like so I know who my fellow Ewok tribesmen are. Today what we're going to be talking about though are all the updates to Star Wars Celebration Anaheim. There have been a ton of things that have come out in the last week. We're going to go through it all. Make sure you get the most out of your celebration trip. Right off the bat, let's talk about who is going to be at Celebration that we know of so far. These are all people that have been listed as guests, which may mean they'll be there to sign autographs, may mean they'll be there for photo ops. Some are also authors, so they're not necessarily there for that, but you might be able to meet them through a book signing. There's another couple of people that are kind of just contributors, so they will be there, but you might not necessarily get to interact with them. So let's go through the ones that they've announced so far. Ashley Eckstein, of course, we know her from being the voice of Ahsoka on Rebels and the Clone Wars. Ian McDiarmid is the Emperor. He will be there. Anthony Daniels, C-3PO himself. Katie Sackhoff, who is Bo-Katan. Emily Swallow, who played the Armorer. Carl Weathers, who of course is in The Mandalorian and also directed an episode of The Mandalorian. Michelle Ang, who is Omega on The Bad Batch. D. Bradley Baker, who is everyone else on The Bad Batch, of course, and then we also have him from the Clone Wars and Rebels being, Rex and everybody else. Dickie Beer, who is a Boba Fett stuntman. He's been in the suit before. Amy Allen, who played Ayla Secura. Doug Chang, who is actually the guy that I would like to meet the most. Last time I was at Celebration in 2019 in Chicago, he did a talk where he sort of talked about creating things in Star Wars, things of that nature. It was probably my favorite thing. Doug Chang is definitely one of my heroes, so I don't think he'll be doing a signing, but I would love to meet him. And I have heard that, well, insider tip here, I have heard that if he does give a talk, that a lot of times, if you kind of go down to the stage later on, sometimes he'll just be out there. He'll like sign up, he'll have a little table or something like that, and he might just be there to sort of sign things of that nature. So I'm gonna look out for a panel for him this year and see if I can't make that happen, because he would actually be top of my list of people to meet that's on here. Steve Sansweet, who is from Rancho Obi-Wan. I should note that the Rancho Obi-Wan, Steve Sansweet, not likely to be signing autographs, although he might. I'm trying to remember, they had a little booth at Chicago. There may have been some sort of interaction you could do with him there, but he's not gonna be like in the celebrity signing area, something of that nature. Giancarlo Esposito, he of course is in The Mandalorian. Yona Sudomo, who is Chewbacca in the newer stuff. Daniel Logan, of course, who was Boba Fett in Attack of the Clones and then voiced him in the Clone Wars. Omid Abdi, who is Dr. Pershing in The Mandalorian. We have Carrie Jones, who just got off of playing Chrysanthemum, who I think did an excellent job. The guy just has one hell of a side eye. I mean, they was giving so much emotion to that character. I think it's, you have to recognize what Jonas and and Carrie here have to do, and of course, the great Peter Mayhew that they put into making that character really come alive for us. Arlie Shoshan, who is Shakti. Tim Rose, Admiral Akbar. That was actually one of the very first Star Wars celebrities that I met. It was at Cincinnati Comic Expo. It was super cool to meet them. A couple other people, Maro Espitolza, which is an Ewok. Kevin Thompson, also an Ewok. And then Jet Lucas, son of George Lucas, who played Zet Lucasa, I believe was the name, in Revenge of the Sith. He's the kid that gets gunned down in front of Bail Organa. So that is the list as we see it so far. I would not be surprised if we didn't see a lot more Rebels cast members get added to this. They've been there in the past. The fact that we don't have any of the Darth Maul character represented here is a little bit surprising. So, this is a decent list to get started. Ashley Eckstein, Ian McDiarmid, Anthony Daniels, Katie Sackhoff, a couple of the people here. These are some of the big hitters that people want to see. Of course, there's other people that we would love to see too, but maybe we'll get to that here. So these are all going to be, probably all going to be photo ops and autographs, with the exception of our Rancho Obi-Wan and our Doug Chang. That this year is being done through official picks. To learn more about this stuff, you can go to swca22.com/photo auto, and you'll be able to choose the days that you're going to be there. So then the photos down below are all kind of color coded, and you'll be able to say I'm only going to be there Thursday, who's going to be there, and it'll show you who's going to be there. Quite a few people are there the entire time. Some people are only there Friday, Saturday. It kind of jumps around. So depending on what your tickets are for, will somewhat depend on who you get to meet that time. Times are all TBD right now, which is concerning. I don't know if maybe you're just reserving the day And then later on, they'll bring out the times. But I have some major hesitations to book any of these autographs yet without knowing when the panels are. I ran into that occasionally in Chicago, where I would be in line for a panel or hoping to go to something, and then would have to duck out to go get an autograph, which sometimes felt like it was worth it, sometimes didn't feel like it was worth it. They seem quite a bit more expensive to me than what I recall in the past. People who I thought were more in the 50 to 65 range are quite a bit up from that. Now, I don't know if that's the case with Star Wars Celebration, but I have heard at other cons in the past that the cons themselves actually pay these people to be there for a certain amount of days, certain amount of hours or whatever, and they aren't actually compensating them based off of the autographs or the photos. They're just sort of being paid a rate. Please appear at this comic show, and please sign things and take photos with the fans. So I wouldn't necessarily say that these are chosen prices by the actors, but I could be wrong. I've just heard that that's how it works in the past. So a couple quick samples, people that I think are going to be of high interest to people watching this. Ashley Eckstein, she is $125 for an autograph, $155 for a photo. Anthony Daniels, $125 for an autograph, $140 for a photo. Ian is going to be $140 for an autograph, $155 for a photo. Katie Sackhoff, $100 and $110. Carl Weathers, $100 and $110. And I did hear that Carl is not doing 3D objects. So if you have a Funko Pop, if you have, I'm trying to think of something that Grief Karga had, I don't know, some sort of gun that you've made, and you want him to sign that, that's not looking like that's going to happen this year. So maybe it's possible if you brought a Funko box that was all flattened down, maybe he would sign that, but it kind of sounds like he's just sticking to photos. So before you buy an autograph, if there's something you're just like, oh my gosh, I really want Katie Sackhoff to sign my Bo-Katan helmet, make sure that they're signing things that aren't just the photos. If it works the same way that it did in Chicago, a photo will be provided for you when you go there. I have relied both on that as well as printing my own photos at home. You know, it's not expensive. You can get them printed at CVS, Walgreens, things like that. An 8x10 or whatever feels good to you, for a few dollars. And I've kind of sourced the images that I really would like to see in my collection. Gina Gavankar was signing. I actually had this really cool photo because it had both her and her helmet, and I think there was kind of like a cool digital effect going on with it. And she was like, "Oh my God, I love this photo! Like this is the one that I wanted them to provide for me. I really wanted something that showed her helmet because I had made that helmet, but then also showed the actress's face." So feel free to bring your own photos if you want to. I've had nothing but great experiences, quite honestly, and Ashley Eckstein is as kind as you could possibly believe, and just in general, everyone is super nice and for the most part excited. I would say they're probably going to be a little bit nicer and a little bit more excited if you go earlier in the con than if you go later in the day or later in the con. Some of these guys that we love are getting up there in age. They do this a lot, and it's just not the thing that they want to be doing late on Sunday at that point. They're kind of worn out from talking to people. I totally get it. Another question I've seen asked a lot, and I do not have the answer for, is whether there's going to be plexiglass between you and the star like there have been over the last couple of years with COVID, or are you going to have to wear, obviously we have to wear masks as of right now. With Celebration, are we going to be pulling masks down? I don't know. That's going to be something that we'll have to find out when we get there. Other guests that are going to be there are some authors: Charles Soule, Daniel Jose Older, Claudia Gray, Justina Ireland, Cavan Scott. They were all there in Chicago as well, and they kind of announced Project Luminous, which then became the High Republic. So that was really cool. I believe you had the opportunity to meet these people when you were out on the floor. If you were buying a book from the publishing area, I believe they had different signings at different times. All these people have contributed great work to the Star Wars lexicon, the canon. I especially love Claudia Gray. Her Lost Stars book is still a fantastic entry point. If you're thinking about getting into Star Wars reading, you're going to love Lost Stars, I promise you. And Charles Soule, of course, has done some great things, both in books and in fantastic runs in the comics. So it might be a situation where you need to buy the book that day. So if you're on the fence about buying a book, maybe wait till you're at Celebration. Sometimes if there's a new book coming out, there's even exclusive covers and things like that there. So you might be able to kind of get something that's kind of cool. They just recently announced that adult Friday tickets are also sold out. We know Friday is sold out, Saturday is sold out, the 4 days sold out within hours of them going on sale. and the Jedi Master level ticket was, you know, sold out before it even went live, it would seem. Those things are impossible to get. But tickets are now officially for resale on lyte.com. That's lyte.com. So if you have tickets, you know, you held on to them from whatever, 2019, 2020, and it's just not looking like it's going to work out, that is where you want to go to officially sell your tickets. If you've missed a day, or you want to add a day, or you missed it entirely and you need to go over the weekend, something of that nature, then you want to go to lyte.com and pick up your tickets or sell your tickets there. It is technically the only official way of doing it. I have heard of some nightmares of people trying to sell it other ways, and it doesn't line up with credentials and people aren't allowed in. Kind of once you have the badge, it's kind of free reign. I mean, I definitely saw in Chicago people getting in and out of there without their badge showing. So, you know, not making any promises, but you're definitely going to want to pursue it kind of the official way. That would be my advice to you, at least. And tickets are being mailed at this point. So at this point, you know, if you didn't correct your address, they're going to your old address. If you chose will call, good luck to you getting them the first day, but they'll be available for you at will call if you chose that option. Otherwise, it is now closed and they are heading to mailboxes. Whether that means that they've been mailed out at this point or not, I don't know. We have some idea of panels, our first big panels, which is super exciting. This is one of the most exciting things about Star Wars Celebration. It used to be in the past, before 2019, people would camp out all night, sometimes inside, sometimes outside, but quite honestly, kind of a nightmare, and not an enjoyable way of enjoying Star Wars Celebration, in my opinion. There were people who camped out all night and still ended up in overflow seating. So my guess is that they will do the lottery system like they did in the past, well, which, you know, while that didn't make everyone happy, you kind of at least knew where you stood and you kind of knew, okay, I can reroute my efforts into other things. Last time in 2019, myself, my friend Madison, and my wife Michaela, we were able to get into the episode 9 panel, which was really cool. Technically, Madison and I got into the episode 9 panel, and when we realized that they weren't really checking tickets and scanning things, we told Michaela to come on in and we had saved her a seat. So shh, don't tell anybody. I know where you live. I don't. You kind of probably figure out where I live. So anyway, come to my house. I'll beat you up if you tell anybody. So anyway, panels. Thursday, May 26th, Lucasfilm live action filmmakers plus special guests to talk about Obi-Wan Kenobi, Andor, and Mando. It was kind of a weird one because we're going to see a little bit later on, there's kind of a panel that sort of sounds the same. So live action filmmakers, though, kind of makes it sound like, you know, if we were going to hear anything about another movie or something like that, that might come in there for that. But it seems like they are sort of sharing a lot of things that are Disney Plus in that time, because right now live action Star Wars is existing on Disney Plus. We'll see if Rogue Squadron comes along or not. Saturday, we're skipping Friday. Saturday, May 28th, Mando Plus, a conversation with Jon Favreau and Dave Filoni. A look back and ahead is how it's listed. So we're going to have a panel which seems to be completely focused on The Mandalorian Season 3, and somewhat, you know, looking back, and then maybe talking about what Season 3 is going to hold. Giancarlo Esposito is recently quoted as saying he thinks that Mandalorian Season 3 is coming out this summer. That would be news to a lot of us, and I don't know if actors really know, but that would be interesting. So, you know, I would not expect an episode of The Mandalorian Season 3, but perhaps we'll get a little teaser. They have been shooting for a long time, so maybe we'll get something there. Sunday, May 29th, Bad Batch panel. They're going to have the creative team and the actors. They're going to do highlights of Season 1 and hints of Season 2. So animation's a tough one because animation could just be a trailer. But animation works very, very far ahead. So it is quite possible that they could show the first episode of Bad Batch Season 2 at Celebration. I don't know when Bad Batch Season 2 is slated to come out. It's been listed in a couple things and then has then dropped off. So I'm not quite sure when it's coming out, but that's a possibility. You know, you're gonna get some sort of taste of what Season 2 is gonna have. So we skipped Friday because Friday hasn't been announced. But Friday is usually a pretty big panel. So what could it be? It could be we know that there's a new animated series coming out of some sort. It could be a big announcement for that. That would be interesting. It could be a new unannounced live action series, or, you know, just like one that's already been kind of announced but hasn't, you know, been talked about a whole lot. So Ahsoka or Lando or something like that. That's possible. But again, it's sandwiched in between that live action filmmaker one and that Mando Plus. So it's kind of hard to say what's going to be there. Maybe it's a video game. Maybe it's Jedi Fallen Order 2 or whatever that becomes, something of that nature, and they're just not quite ready to tell us yet. Rogue Squadron, who knows where that is right now? It kind of seemed like that was being shelved, but then it seems like it's back on, so not completely sure, but I would love to know what you guys think. So hop down in the comments and let me know what would be the fourth panel you would add to Star Wars Celebration if it was up to you, or give me your prediction of what you think it could be. A couple other things that have happened. The podcast stage acceptance has been confirmed, so people that have podcasts around Star Wars were able to submit their bid to be included in Star Wars Celebration, and just sort of media in general. I believe, from what I understand, the people at this point that have applied for that have heard back, so they know whether they've got some stage time or something like that. So some of my favorite, Star Wars community members are part of podcasts, and they've got that in there, so that's exciting. One thing I'm excited about for this celebration is maybe just getting to see a couple more panels that I didn't get to see last time when I was there in Chicago. For myself, I'm going to have an interview with De Novo. They've invited us to, reach out to them. So I will have an interview with them, and we'll talk about how it's going for them, what we can be excited about, things of that nature. So if you have questions for De Novo around Star Wars and Lucasfilm licensing, leave it down in the comments and I'll try to make sure I get an answer for you. As for myself, I will be releasing some sort of meetup time and location, something of that nature. It's probably going to be very informal because, just having a good time when we're there. But I will let you know once I kind of know what the panel listings come out. I would hate to schedule something that overlaps with something that I want to go to, and of course you guys might want to go to as well. So we'll try to get that closer scheduled. Instagram and this channel, of course, are the best places to follow me to know what that information will be. Before we wrap it up here, you guys might want to check by Evan the Collector. He is a friend of mine. We follow each other on Instagram and YouTube and things like that. He's got a fantastic channel, and every Friday night he runs the Smuggler's Lounge, which is sort of a little talk show, little communication group show, and I'm going to be on there this Friday. So this Friday, which is the 15th, you can find me on Evan the Collector's Smuggler's Lounge, and I will throw that down in the comments. Guys, I hope you enjoyed this video. I enjoyed kind of going down this information. I'm also planning a Disney trip while I'm there, and also checking out the film museum while I'm there, and the Peterson Auto Museum while I'm there. So maybe when we get a little bit closer, I'll kind of lay out my whole Star Wars Celebration timeline, give you guys an idea of what I'll be doing. The best way to stay up with me is, of course, subscribing here if you haven't already. Also following me on Instagram. I'm always sharing fun polls, and anytime I see a good deal on a lightsaber or something Star Wars related, I'm throwing it up on there too, so that you guys can add stuff to your collection without breaking the bank. So guys, thanks for joining me today, and I will see you later.